I already knew as soon as they come in here, I'm gonna be the first one to sign up. Started doing jiu-jitsu about 3 years ago with one of my sons. He started doing it and I joined with him. I secretly have been wanting to do, not secretly, but I've been wanting to do jiu-jitsu for many, many years. And as an adult, you get, career, whatnot, it's hard to find time to do these things. I noticed after the first year that the jiu-jitsu I was doing was a little different than what I expected it, even though I absolutely loved it. And I started looking for self-defense. I started Googling self-defense jiu-jitsu, that kind of thing. And then as I found Ryan's channel or Kama's channel, I immediately connected with it. And so over the last, I think about 2 years, started following the channel, watched all the videos. I have years of teaching experience. And so my mind automatically goes, even if I'm a white belt in jiu-jitsu, my mind automatically will go to how can I make this better? Or how can we make this better? Most of the time when Ryan would speak, I would agree with it. Like, yes, that's exactly what should happen. And so again, through the years, just following those videos, I honestly would wish, like a lot of people do on the channel, if you read the comments, people say, when are you gonna open up a school here or open up a school here? And then, I felt the same way. It's like, man, I really wish Kama Jiu-Jitsu would come here to Austin. And when it actually happened, or when I saw the last video, that it was actually gonna happen, I could not believe it. So I already knew as soon as they come in here, I'm gonna be the first one to sign up. No exaggeration. I immediately text Professor Ryan after the first class, and just totally different. Typical experience I had in other schools, and I've been to a lot of schools in this area and visiting when I go out of town. But it's you show up, you do warm-ups, you practice the technique, for a little while, and then they may show a little more of the technique or a completely different technique, and then you roll. Pretty much it. And show up the next day or maybe the next week, and it may or may not be the same technique or may not connect. And so the very first class, and then in addition to that, rarely was there any kind of self-defense mindset or pure self-defense teaching. The very first class I took was managing distance, was headlock escapes, was base and connection. Never had that in any other class. So the very first class, and actually it wasn't a fast-paced class at all. It was very conceptual, and just all that put together, it definitely felt like a different jiu-jitsu. And that's not to demean other schools by any means. This is just what I was looking for, and the first class was actually more than what I anticipated. And then subsequent classes, it was kind of the same things. So it was that repetition, but consistency. It was the self-defense and all that good stuff. Always my curiosity is, businesses will claim they do this and do that, especially on the website. You're trying to market to people. But I saw it for myself. I've seen it for myself. It's actually been 2 weeks. Every class has been exactly what Ryan says on the video. It is different. It is self-defense, always self-defense. There is a curriculum, there's the ladder, there's the concepts of base that comes from Hicks and Gracie, everything he said. I enjoy grappling no matter what it is. I got to do the sport jiu-jitsu, and there was touches of self-defense in there, just kind of randomly. Got to do wrestling, which I absolutely loved. A pretty cool gentleman, not gonna name names, but he did a wrestling class once a week for 4 months. A lot of takedowns. And so just grappling is just amazing. So that's kind of, but overall it was sport jiu-jitsu. It's fun no matter what, honestly. But the thing that was missing for me is, okay, we're not practicing striking. We're at least not even in the mindset of it. And so that was something I wanted, was at least have the mindset of, if not actual strikes itself. And so, as I mentioned, just over a little bit of time, I just realized I do love this, but there's an element that I want that's not there. And I started searching for that. This is my school, I'm solidified, I'm not going anywhere. And I'm not easy to sell, I'm hard. I'm hard to sell because kind of like what you said, like I'm looking for truth, and I'm looking for someone that's actually truthful, and then I want the actual product to do what it says it does. And it's obvious that this product does what it says it does. So I was actually pleased. I was surprised because the facility, it's new or newer, smells good when you come in. The mat size for a brand new school opening up and sit in Austin. Austin's expensive. That's good mat size for a school that's starting off. I had mentioned in my mind as I'm going to schools, I'm kind of thinking how to make this better. And one of the things that run through my mind a lot was clean mats and clean people, you know? And the first class we did, he had us clean the mats from corner to corner before the class started. That was new for me. And so you know the mats are clean. And so you could smell it, you can see it, and it's another one of those things where, you know, the Kama practices what they preach. Most of us had to get up and go to work tomorrow. You know, if I get staph infection or whatnot, I mean, that's gonna be a big deal for some of us. So it's a comforting that we come in here and we see the clean mat for ourselves because we're actually doing it before the class starts. So I did a couple of judo classes that was on a gymnastics mat, and that was really, really springy, but almost a little bit too much. But you know, this when I bounce, I'll actually bounce on them. I'm curious, and you can feel that little bit of a bounce. But no, I don't. Not like this particular. I definitely like them. So Ken, for starters, he's obviously a good instructor. It's obvious that he's been has been taught how to teach well. Because I don't know if that's how he is, if he's a good teacher, or how much of it that Ryan, you know, Professor Ryan has put into him as well. You know, it's probably both. Yeah, he's a great instructor. He'll break things down, and then we'll repeat it, and then he'll look and make sure. You see if we have any questions. He'll always ask, do you have questions? We'll ask questions. He'll break it down further. But he definitely knows the curriculum. He knows the detail. There's times where you'll ask an instructor, you know, what about such and such thing? And you know, you can't know the answers to everything, but you know, they'll kind of process it and they'll give an answer, and I'm sitting there kind of thinking, how much of that are you just kind of, you know, I don't want to say making up, maybe they are, I don't know. But with Ken, you ask a question, he knows it. He knows exactly, he knows the detail, he knows you're supposed to place your arm here. Like today we're doing headlock escapes in the morning. And I was having a hard time with it. And all those details he was giving me to be able to perform the technique a lot better than I did 5 minutes before. So yeah, you're a great instructor, which Ryan promised me he would be. Another thing that he was telling the truth about. Ken would be a great instructor. He is. I've taught stuff in the past, not jiu-jitsu, but where I'm just doing it because that's part of my job, but I don't really believe in it, but you just have to teach it. So when someone's teaching something they believe in, it's obvious to me. I would say what stands out to me for starters is I mean, I've only been here 2 weeks, but from what I can tell, he grasped those Hicks and Gracie concepts that Professor Ryan talks about a lot on the channel. And he grasped those really, really well because he'll talk about how, you know, you should have your base first. First and foremost, you should have your base, and then your connection to your opponent, partner. And then at that point is when you start controlling their base. And I have the Hicks and Gracie self-defense videos, the curriculum.
Yeah, the gallery.
And so I've heard these concepts from him, but he teaches them so well and so simply that being redundant, he knows these concepts, you know. Oh, and as a white belt, because I will say, you know, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a few years, but coming in here, I absolutely feel like a brand new white belt, which is good because that's why I joined the school, because there was something that was missing for me. But he is teaching at a white belt level, which it was difficult for me to find at other schools to an extent. It was just like, for instance, the randomness is hard for a new guy. When you learn this one day and maybe you don't come for a week because you're busy or whatnot, and then you come the next week, it's something completely different. Here, it's making sure that you understand these basic concepts, the ladder, so that you're not moving on to something that's just kind of disconnected or way further down the line that you don't really need to learn because you're still back here. So Ken does that really well, is making sure that you're learning what you need to learn at your level where you're at. Just say that I'm excited that KAMA is here. Of all the cities, this is where KAMA decided to do their third school. So I'm the lucky winner. I was the first student to sign up. I made sure of that. So I'm KAMA Jiu-Jitsu, Austin KAMA Jiu-Jitsu's first student. I'm excited to grow and come as much as I possibly can.
Oh, cool, man. We're happy to have you as well. So thank you for coming along.
Absolutely.